Arsenal 4, Spurs 1 in a very one-sided affair. In a game which Spurs basically said to Arsenal before the game started, my brothers, here is the 3 points. Go and be 6 points above Chelsea. Go and be 7 points above Man City. Spurs, before the game started, basically admitted defeat. I'll tell you guys why. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about the first half, the second half, the lineups, which made no sense. And of course, player performance, the players that stepped up, and the main takeaways of the game itself. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And make sure you, of course, put down in the comment section what you guys made of today's game, yeah? This was the lineup which both Arsenal and Spurs had up. Like, Arsenal's lineup wasn't surprising. It wasn't like anything shocking. It was the same 11, which I kind of expected, especially with the injuries of Victor not being there, the striker, and Moreno basically stepping in. But for Spurs, I looked at this lineup, and I said it in the watch-along. I said before the game even started, like, I looked at it, and I'm like, bro, the game is done. Like, Arsenal basically got the 3 points already. Spurs basically said, here's the 3 points, because you are going to Arsenal with a back five and a two pivot of players that can't progress the ball, that can't receive under pressure, that can't find a pass, and you've got Kudus, Odegaard, and Richarlison up front. I'm more than happy for you to say, you know what, they are the better team. I'm more than happy for you to say, you know what, let's hit them on the counter. Let's hit them in transition. 5 at the back, I've got no issue with it. The only thing with 5 at the back, you've got 2 players in Destiny and Jet Spence who wasn't playing as wing backs. They were playing as full backs. So essentially, you didn't have players up front in both on both flanks. Both of them barely progressed with it. Both of them barely was in the final third. Both of them barely did anything. If you're trying to play a 5 at the back, maybe play a Pedro Porro who you can benefit from. Him running with the ball, can find a pass, and on top of that, his set pieces are pretty good. Secondly, you've got a 2 pivot of Palhinha and Bentancur who can't receive under pressure, who's not great when they progress with the ball. They can't do it. They can't find a pass. Why are you not playing maybe a Bergvall? Why are you not playing maybe a Simmons? Why are you not playing a Sarr? Why, like, brother, if you had played the same way what you did in the second half, which I'll come to, because the first half performance wasn't great. Like, it wasn't amazing, even from an Arsenal point of view. Like, I thought after the second minute, where Arsenal had a great moment where Saka found Eze, and Eze had that nice little chip pass to Declan Rice, who of course, I think Vicario made a great save. And I thought from there, you know what? This is where Arsenal's going to put a lot of momentum, a lot of pressure on Spurs. But we didn't see any of that. Like, Arsenal didn't really create that much. They're relying mainly on the set piece. They're relying on mostly on Saka's side. And one thing they did very great is, of course, every time the back line, Danso, Romero, Van der Ven, whenever Palhinha, Bentancur had the ball, they've got 2-3 players on them. That they were pressing, and that's why Spurs, there wasn't a moment that Spurs did anything in that first half. They had 0 shots on target. Bro, look at this. Look at that first half from Spurs. Nothing. Like, Spurs had nothing going for them. It's the first time I can see all zeros. There was so many zeros in that first half because Spurs didn't do anything. And whenever they got set piece, Vicario was taking it from 60 yards, expecting Danso to win the first header and then Romero to win the second. Like, what are you guys doing? What kind of... Thomas Frank, I swear to God, yeah, I'll talk about him after the game. Then, of course, both goals came from one from Trossard, who... with a, what was the Trossard? Yeah, the Trossard was the Mikel Moreno one. Oh my goodness. Mikel Moreno receives the ball outside the box. I thought the pass was going to Calafiori because Calafiori had made a great run. He finds a great disguise of a pass in between 3 defenders. Trossard with a beautiful touch takes a deflection, of course, but I'm not taking anything away from the goal because the pass was sensational by Moreno, and the finish, and the control by Trossard was sensational. They managed to score a second goal straight after that with Eze, but the second goal, I've got question marks about it because the same exact goal got disallowed between Liverpool and Man City with Virgil van Dijk, where Robertson was blocking the view of Donnarumma. Whereas in this goal specifically, you had Trossard and you had someone else, I forgot who it was, blocking Vicario's like a view. So why is that goal offside, but this goal is not offside? So the lack of consistency makes no sense in the Premier League, and it's not just the Premier League; it's throughout the whole world. Where one game is this, another game is that. It just like there's no rules, by the way. There is no rules. It just depends on the referee. It depends on how the referee views it. Because if that was a set rule, then everything is the same. But there isn't. By the way, it's not just this. I can see so many other examples of different games where one game they give it, another game they don't give it. Like there's no rules in football. It's just how the referee views it, and in his own eyes, does he think it's offside? Does he think it's not? Does he think it's a goal? Not a goal. It makes no sense. But anyway, the first half, I'm not taking anything away from Arsenal because it was a deserved lead. It's not like Arsenal played amazing in the first half. I think they only had 5 or 10 minutes of brilliance where they actually showed, they actually put momentum, they actually put pressure on Spurs. Spurs in the second half, no surprise. They brought on Simmons early on, but it wasn't enough because Arsenal scored literally moments after that. They scored with Eze. Beautiful finish, weak foot on the bottom corner, makes it 3-0, and the game was done. The game was over. The game was done. There was no point even going for it. In that moment, I thought, you know what? They might take off Eze, they might take off Xhaka, they might take off Declan Rice, maybe Saliba because Calafiori, because he was injured, of course, at international break, because they've got a big game against Bayern coming up. Then, out of nowhere, Richarlison scores a goal which no one really expected because it came against a run of play. And that moment, Spurs didn't create nothing. Even when they conceded the third goal, they still didn't attack. They didn't do anything because the shape was still the same. They still were played 5 at the back. They brought in Simmons for Dancer, but they still played defensively. It was still a low block. Nothing changed. But that goal did something. Great goal, by the way. Like insane goal. Palhinha, great counter press to win the ball back in Arsenal's area, and Richarlison, no one expected him, chip pass out of nowhere, shot from like 40 yards out of nowhere, managed to catch David Raya off guard, and great goal, 3-1. And this is where Spurs made the mistake, because when you score that kind of goal, it gives you some sort of momentum. This is where I expected, all right, cool, the momentum's now, it might shift. It might, you know what? If they get a second goal, hey, Arsenal might be under pressure because Arsenal wasn't great before Spurs scored in the 55th minute. It's not like Arsenal dominated Spurs. It's not like Arsenal were amazing. Spurs gave the victory to Arsenal, and Arsenal were just smart in the crucial moments, very smart in pressing, and very smart and with individual brilliance scoring the goals. It's not like Arsenal carried and were sensational. They weren't. Arsenal was playing on second gear, third gear throughout the whole game. So in that moment, what Thomas Frank should have done, let me bring on, rather than waiting for the 78th minute or 66th minute, bro, the goal came, boom, take him off. Bring Koulibaly, bring Tell, bring Brennan Johnson, bring Poro, and from there, instead he waited 15 minutes later when the game was already over. The game was already over. This Donny waited for Eze to score his third goal for him to make some changes. Like, come on, brother. Like, Eze, of course, scores a great goal. Moreno wins the ball. And I'll speak of player performances. Eze with a beautiful finish. This time around, with his right foot. Again, placement. Every goal from Eze was all placement. The second goal and the third goal was all about placement, finding your corners and just finding where exactly it needs to be. Great goal by Eze, scores a hat trick, and someone in the chat was telling me that this was the first hat trick in the North London derby since 1978, which is kind of crazy. In terms of my main take, my player performances, first of all, for Arsenal, I can highlight Timber having a great game, a quiet game, because he didn't have any sort of threat from Destiny or Odobert. So for Timber, great game in the final third. Declan Rice was very good, winning the ball back a couple of times. In the final third, being involved. Moreno, by the way. Moreno, for me, had a sensational game. Moreno, for me, is there something that this guy can't do? Because this guy, I see him pressing, I see him defending, I see him scoring goals, I see him winning headers, I see him assisting, I see him create. That pass was sensational, winning the ball. Like, Moreno does everything for Arsenal. And I see why Arteta starts in every single game because throughout the whole game, he wasn't even playing. Like, check his heat map. I don't know if they've got heat map there. They don't, right? Yeah, they don't have heat map. Check his heat map because his heat map was throughout the midfield. This guy was barely playing as a striker. He was playing, for that goal, he was dropping deep. I see him playing as a right mid, as a right winger, he was playing everywhere. Like, Moreno's such a great game by Moreno. But this man right here, they've been waiting for that moment for him to showcase and for him to actually blow up, for him to explode for Arsenal, and this was the game. And ironically enough, it was the game against the team that tried to sign him, who was very close to signing him. That you saw the second goal where he was smirking, he was laughing, just making fun of it. The third goal, I love the celebration. Him basically saying to Saka, "Should I take my celebration, my shirt off?" Like, I can't lie, Eze had a man of the match display. Great performance from Eze. From a Spurs point of view, not a single player was great. Like, defensively, they were all over the place. The fullbacks didn't provide any sort of attacking width or anything attacking options. The two midfield pivot was just non-existent. Was just timid. You can't expect him to do anything. Kudus was the only person. Kudus was the only person in the first half and in the second half. Try to do something. Try to bring the ball. Try to carry the ball. Try to make something happen. Like Thomas Frank, I'm having a long conversation about him because this game itself was all on you. It was all on you because before the game started, everyone knew Arsenal was going to win the game. You basically gave up before the game even started. That lineup is disgraceful. You can play a low block. You don't need to play a low block in this kind of fashion. And because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you've basically got only one person that's able to carry the ball by himself and make something happen. 10 other players can't do that. So how do you expect now to, all right, maybe if I pick my moment, maybe if I've got a moment, I can maybe find someone in transition. You can't because your two midfielders can't find a pass like that, and you've only got one person that can do it. And your two fullbacks were barely attacking. Like Thomas Frank had the worst shape, the worst system, the worst tactics I've seen from this season. Like that's the first half performance was disgusting and deserves Spurs losing this game because this was horror. This was so bad. In terms of the main takeaways, of course, this is a big win before Bayern coming up on Wednesday. But this game right here takes Arsenal 6 points ahead of Chelsea and 7 points ahead of Man City. The league is not done. I'm not going to say the league is done because I saw some people say the league is done now with Spurs, with City losing and Liverpool losing. I think this game right here, the next game is going to change a lot of things because the next game is going to tell me a lot about Arsenal and it's going to tell me a lot about Chelsea. If Chelsea wins, then we've got a league, literally, because 3 points behind Arsenal. If City then wins against Leeds, which is expected at home, they'll be 4 points behind Arsenal. And Arsenal, they've got a tough schedule coming up in the next December break. So if Arsenal win that game, then you can say, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying I can't see Arsenal dropping points. But listen, these are my thoughts about the game. Let me know down in the comments what you guys made of the game. Disgusting performance from Spurs. From an Arsenal point of view, you weren't great, but you don't need to be great because Spurs basically was shit. So you don't need to be amazing to beat this shit team. And it gives you a great momentum before the game against Bayern Munich. Peace.